What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Ignite Thursday. I'm just making sure everything is up and going here. Hopefully everybody can hear me. The mic is on. Welcome to Ignite Thursday, where I like to essentially come on here and share some thoughts, ideas, and opinions, some experiences, some things I've been learning, hopefully some things that you guys have been learning. Actually, this week is a little different because of the fact that the topic that I have today is actually from an article that I had that I wanted to share with you guys. So for those guys that are on Instagram, I apologize. You won't be able to see the article. I'm not going to actually read the article verbatim. I just want to touch on some of the different mentors it has in it. I'm probably actually going to rename this particular video for those people that are watching this after the fact. Because I don't really see it as a mentorship thing. I see it more as people in your life that essentially can help you have that successful environment. What's going on, Lily? How you doing? I think it's important to have these people, right? So it's not just mentors. I think it's mostly having just the right people in your life and allowing yourself to succeed, right? So that's essentially what I am talking about today, the theme of today. But before we get into it, if there's any feedback you guys have, if there's any particular videos, I know on Tuesday at Clubhouse, I've been hosting some different events on Clubhouse with Sean, my partner, and him and I have been like, talking to people in general that come on about particular topics that they want us to discuss about. So if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about, just leave that in the comments down below on Instagram or on YouTube or Facebook, and I will make sure that I can get those in on the next Ignite Thursday, right? Ultimately, to get started with the whole types of mentorships, I actually want to share my screen here. Sorry, I got a bunch of stuff going on here. So again, I do apologize for those people that are on Instagram. I can't share my screen. That would be nice if StreamYard would allow me to do that and Instagram was up to date with stuff like that, but it's okay because I'm going to go over the topics anyway. I'm just kind of going to bounce back and forth on YouTube on this, so I can kind of just highlight everything. It's the 5 types of mentors you need in your life. This article is pretty good. It's very basic, which is good to see. But first one is the first mentor is the master of craft. Let me go ahead and expand this bigger so you guys can see me on here. Actually, I don't know why that's that way. But the master of craft, right? Like anything else, I think when you are going to learn about something, right, it's always good to have somebody that has had the experience. And you're either going to trade your time or money essentially for that particular skill, right? Either you're going to put in the time and develop that skill, or you're going to pay money for a mentor, right? Now, obviously, this one's obviously more of a mentor kind of role. So being said, it is good to find those people. Now, saying that mentor doesn't have to be somebody physically there one-on-one, right? Because there's a lot of people that perhaps can't actually reach particular people. So what I've taught myself, right? If I can't get a particular mentor, maybe it's the cost, maybe whatever the reason is, you can always find somebody or research somebody in particular, right? Whether it's for meditation, whether it's for diet, whether it's for business, right? And find somebody that's in that particular field and learn as much as you can from, right? They might have courses, they may have books, right? I do a lot of stuff through courses and books to help me learn, educate myself, and then become a practitioner of it, right? So ultimately, you're going to either pay for it in time or in cost. And so you can't be afraid, right? Are you going to put in the time, or are you going to actually pay for it and hopefully get the experience that you need to accelerate yourself to the point to where you want to get in life, right? And so I think master craft. Now, this is a tough one, right? Because you're gonna realize that you're gonna have a lot of mentors that aren't good, and some are good, some are bad, right? But you ultimately have to find the one essentially you mesh with. ultimately, and that you're learning well from, and that can that mentor can essentially adapt to you and allow you, essentially give you what you're looking for. And even talking about mentors, when I started getting into the stock market and stuff, right, I had a couple different mentors. I had like 3 different mentors, and they all taught different things. They all had pros and cons, right? So it's just finding which one that really meshed with me. And ultimately, I took what they taught me and I essentially integrated it into my own style, right? As investing and trading and stuff like that. That's what I had to do, and used what the mentors have taught me. But ultimately, again, some better than others. So you just have to realize that, and this goes for any category in your life that you're trying to learn, but you should always have some kind of master craftsman, right, to help you get there faster. Ultimately, I think, again, if you're gonna teach yourself, you should still have some kind of resource, whether it's a book or videos, whatever the case is. Find somebody in that niche and help you build that out. I do feel, again, that is someone you really need in your life to help you, again, accelerate there, to get to where you want to go faster. Now, the second one here, let me actually fix this here. I don't know why this is stop screen. There we go. It's displaying the wrong one on here, so my apologies to those people on Facebook and YouTube. Share screen, Chrome tab. Yes, I like to talk about my navigation. It helps sometimes. Helps with being more chatty. Nope, I shared the same screen. Well, that wasn't very smart, Marcus, was it? Yes. I do this in my head all the time too, so just so you're aware. She shared screen. I think we got it now. There we go. That was what's throwing me off. Okay, there we go. So the first one was the master of craft. So again, this is going to be a mentor. I talked about it could be other people in your life. It doesn't have to be a mentor. And I think these other ones kind of play more into that as being a mentor. Although a good thing to point out here too is that a mentor or a friend or associate in your life, right? I think they could play multiple parts to this particular article, because the next one is the champion of your cause, right? And what's important about that is I talked about you should always be your biggest cheerleader, but I think to a point, it's always still good to have people in your life that still support you, right? And having that, it always it helps you push harder because of the fact you have someone that is supporting you, and we're social creatures, right? Like there's no way, there's no doubt about that. And there's statistics to prove the fact that, without having those friends, companions, and people in your life, right, being lonely, it decreases your lifespan, right? Not to be morbid or anything like that, but ultimately, if you can have someone that supports what you do, it makes a big difference, right? Because a lot of times you can be your biggest fan and hype yourself up to do stuff, but I talk about not looking for validation, but sometimes you still need that validation, especially when you feel like you're off course. You may actually be doing fantastic, but you still need that other third party to be like, hey, you know what, you're actually doing really good, keep it up, right? That helps tremendously. It helps with your motivation and whatever it is you're trying to learn, and get yourself to where you're trying to go. So again, I do feel like, you need that's a big supporter in your corner, and that does help. And as this article states, the champion of your cause, right? And to believe what you do, because I think, again, you need that adjustment sometimes in your life. And I know even for me, like one of my biggest supporters has always been my little sister, right? She's always been there, and actually kind of leads into one of the other mentors further down here, but she's always supported me, right? And even though at times I feel like I'm way out there in left field, and I talk about this a lot of times, like, pull me in, right? I feel like I'm too far out there, but she doesn't, right? She says, go do it, whatever it is. She knows that I've had a track record of doing it, right? And to realize that I'm going to push as hard as I can, and failure doesn't bother me, right? I think that comes to failing a lot more in a younger age, and being okay with that, and realizing that it takes failure to become great at anything, right? So being said, again, it is always good to have that supporter. Again, it doesn't have to be a mentor. A mentor can support you, right? But it's perhaps being in a relationship where that person supports you, professional, personal, whatever the case is just finding that person. It could be even a friend, right, that just supports you. And it's good to have, when you're building out this environment of success, it's good to have that person that supports you no matter what. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the third mentor they have on here, which is a co-pilot. I think a co-pilot is important. And even I, like with my partner, Sean, that I do the Improvement Lounge with, right? It's good to have somebody that is like-minded, right? And have them help drive you, right? And I know I talk about don't have that competitive thing. You should always only compete against yourself. It is good, but you want to do that behind closed doors, because a lot of time, a good majority of the time, it's just going to be you. So you need to be able to motivate yourself, but it's also good to have that friendly competition, right, with people that are like-minded, and that helps drive you more, because a lot of times you find motivation comes in cycles. And so when you're in cycles, you may feel down in those down cycles, to have that other person that maybe they're in their up cycle and motivated, and so they allow you to become more motivated again, right? They cause you to get out and do stuff. And even like today is a great example of that, right? Like today, I've been doing my like lifting in the morning, and then towards in the afternoon I started doing like my runs and stuff. And today I just didn't want to run, and then I started thinking, man, if Sean could only hear me now, he'd probably be pretty upset. So, and so I use it, right? Because a lot of times I talk about going through the motions. And so if you have that competitiveness, right, it allows you to, okay, well, I can't do this, right? I gotta keep up with it. And even coming on here, right, and having a community of people that are like-minded helps, right? It's essentially having those people to keep you in check, that will allow you to keep yourself on going, right, and trying to build out that successful framework that allows you to achieve the things that you want in life. But being said, a co-pilot, again, it can be anybody in your life, a relationship, whatever the case is. It doesn't have to be a mentor. That's why I didn't really agree with mentors for all these. A mentor is there for a lot of it and can help for a lot of it. Again, some of them have strengths and weaknesses that will hit a couple of these different things, or you may have a friend or a relationship that hits a couple of these different things. But ultimately, I think a co-pilot does help, especially when you're going through the different cycles. But what the next thing is the anchor. The anchor is always good to have. I know we all have some kind of anchor in our life. Again, I just said, I talked about this previously, my younger sister's always been my anchor, right? Having that rock, right? That person you can always depend on. And it's not always the case, right? I think I've been lucky. I'm very grateful that I have a younger sister that supports me and does always other different things through a lot of the things I've experienced in my life. But it's always good to try to have that, right? And again, it does come back onto you a lot of times, right? Like other people can't be there 110% of the time. That's why you do have to believe in yourself and build up that confidence in yourself by having a track record, having a focal point that you've done it before. Okay, just trust myself, I can do it, and just keep pushing forward, even though you may have self-doubt, right? You have to also realize you're always constantly playing against yourself, right? You're biologically wired to fight against yourself, right? If you're trying to make progress in your life, you're going against the grain ultimately. And so having an anchor, having someone there, again, that supports you, that's your champion, right? That's supports you no matter what you do, and allows you to grow and give feedback, right? Constructive criticism and stuff like that. And I talked about this before, about having that person that can give you constructive criticism, and someone that you trust in, right? Or possibly even asking them, well, what are my weak points, right? Because you want someone that's going to be honest, because a lot of times, well, I've done this with my family. I've asked them, what are my weak points, to try to like fill the gaps sometimes. And because a lot of times we're blind to it, right? If you're not documenting it, you don't know. And a lot of things you just have blind spots, right? And you just can't capture those blind spots. So if you have someone you can trust and ask them, right, they can help you with those blind spots. And being the anchor, right, they're supportive of everything that you do, but will offer, again, that constructive criticism. I apologize for the train. It does like to make entrances every now and again, and it does like to get loud. But with that being said, so anchor is important. It doesn't have to be a mentor. In my mind, I've never really seen a mentor as like an anchor. I see that more as like a personal relationship that you have with somebody to find that particular anchor. Now, if you don't have an anchor, it can be hard. You can look for communities of like-minded people that can provide an anchor for you, right? Where you can go and have open discussions, right? That may make you feel better. Ultimately, that's what you're looking for, is looking for people where you can be honest about. And again, it may be hard. You may have to pursue different communities, right? And like I talked about the mentors, like you may find mentors that you don't mix with, right? So you look for other communities that you mesh with, and try to find that place where you can find essentially your safe zone, right? Because ultimately what an anchor is a safe spot where you can go and you can communicate, get constructive criticism, right? And sometimes you just got to let loose, and that's what they're ultimately there for. But being said, anchor is always good to have. But number 4, what do we got for that was number 4, my apologies. And then number 5 is the reverse mentor. So essentially someone to give you another feedback, right? So it's always good to have perspective. And I talk about having the opposite perspective of essentially what you're thinking, right? Because it's always good to have angle. And I've talked about this before about being too one-dimensional, I think can really harm you. And I think a lot of times, right, especially in the States, it's always been, you need to be very niche in one particular thing. I know like in programming, like they want you to really focus on one particular programming language, whether it's web applications or whether it's the UI side. And I'm trying not to get really technical here, but they want you to really niche down on particular things. And then you look at other things, right? Like I have a book review on the 50th law, right? And 50 Cent, and he talks about how you shouldn't be one-dimensional. Now, I've never really been one-dimensional, but this book really put it in perspective. And that's why I like to bring this book up, is because he was not at all one-dimensional. He was very multidimensional, right? And it helps because you get different perspective. And if you can find a person that can provide that other perspective, again, going back, this is why all these other different kind of mentors kind of tie in, because of the fact that, if you have that anchor, right, they can provide you perspective on something else, and possibly look for other cons or something in whatever you're essentially trying to achieve, right? And maybe again, there's a blind spot or something you're not seeing there. Hey, how's it going? Under the rainbow, how you doing? But ultimately, finding that other perspective really helps, right? And it allows you to see things at a different angle. Again, because if you are too one-dimensional, again, I think you can get stuck. And even like for myself, if I'm too one-dimensional, I have to essentially go off and do something else, change my perspective to get a new angle, essentially on whatever the problem is that I'm trying to solve. But if you have that person that can provide that as like instantaneous feedback almost, right, which is good to have. Again, it doesn't have to be a particular person. Communities, I think, are great here that can actually match this. That's why having mentors, a mentor could provide you that perspective. But again, if you're looking for other places, again, relationships, communities, like-minded people can help you with that, because everybody, again, comes from different walks of life. So they can give you that other perspective that you're not seeing, which is tremendous, right? And another thing is going out and seeking other perspectives, through reading, through other different resources, and you gain perspective. This is why I always talk about gaining perspective, because you can also get that perspective from other different resources. But ultimately, if you do have that person, it does help. It does, again, provide you with a better idea of where you're coming at, so you can kind of essentially attack any problem from multiple different angles, right? But that is essentially it for the article. Again, it's a good little short article. Again, I saw it on LinkedIn, actually, to be honest. It was good, and I wanted to share it. But I think, again, it's important to have these people. Right now, this article talks again about mentors. I think you don't need a mentor to do this. Maybe for to master a craft, you do need, I think, somebody to help you do that, to help coach you along in that fashion, whether it's actually one-on-one or whether it's through books, through videos of that particular person in that particular space. But aside from that, like, I think, again, a mentor or a personal relationship or community can have a mixture of these different things that can help you achieve the things that you want in your life. And so, being said, again, I've had multiple ones of these. What's going on, Angela? How you doing? But having these different things, having these different people in your life, or one person that does multiple things of these, right? Because I think you probably need at least a couple of these people in your life to help build out a successful framework to allow you to achieve the things that you want in life. So being said, I think, again, this article about the different types of mentors. Again, I have to rename it when I come off of here, because I don't want people to think it's just mentors, right? I'm not coming on here to talk about mentors, but it's about the important people you should have in your life to essentially be successful, right? That doesn't, again, everybody defines success differently. It is not saying that you have to go out and be a successful entrepreneur. It's just being successful at what you're trying to achieve in your life, whether that's weight loss, whether that's just trying to get peace of mind, wherever you're going in your life, right? I think you need these people, and it's important to have these people in your life, and it really fulfills your life. But a lot of times you have to seek these people, again, these different, not mentors, but these key people, we'll call them key people in your life that you need to achieve those things that you want in life. But that is pretty much what I had for today. I wanted to go over that article about the different types of mentors. If anybody had any questions, I don't have anybody on YouTube or Facebook, but on Instagram, if anybody had any questions about the important people in your life. Also, I'm trying to think of what else is going on. I got the podcast going on this weekend, so that comes out every Sunday. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, I did get a camera. I did want to share with you guys. I did get a GoPro. So I'm excited about that, because what I want to actually start doing too is providing some outside video and stuff like that for the channel. I think that would be great, and try to take this more mobile, as opposed to doing a lot of videos like this. I know I'm trying to provide information, but try to also give you guys better scene, as aside from the blinds and stuff all the time that I do have on here. But I think that would be great, right? Having some good scenery and going on some trail hikes and sharing some more insightful things. Because, again, I think going out in nature is a good thing to also help, right? And help, especially during a time like this, connecting with nature. That's why I like to run a lot, because it does help with that as well. But ultimately, if there are no particular questions, it looks like we do have a viewer on YouTube and Facebook. If anybody actually wants to see this article, I can actually put it down in the description below for those people on Facebook and YouTube. But I essentially went over the article of the 5 types of mentors, essentially key people in your life that I think are important for success, right? Because it's all about building a successful framework to get you where you want to go. So if you guys don't have any questions, I hope everybody is having a great evening. I hope everybody is doing great. I hope you guys are igniting change in your life. Again, also too, I am still doing virtual races. If you guys are interested in doing virtual races and help plant trees while you're doing it, just 2 birds, 1 stone, which is fantastic. That is also, I believe it's down in the description below. I do have links and all that stuff. If you guys are interested in doing virtual races, again, it's all custom, so you can essentially do it at your own pace, do different activities to essentially hit the mileage on it, which is great. I'm still doing a very long race for this year, so I need to get my miles up. I know I've only run about 6 miles a day, so I need to start bumping the mileage up a little bit more, because I got a lot of miles to run still. But again, hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you guys are having a great evening. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And until next time, I will see you guys later.